Before the clock strikes midnight and 2026 dawns upon us, you stand at the precipice of a monumental choice. Before you lies a window of opportunity, a rare and fleeting moment in time that may never present itself again with such clarity and potential. This is your chance to forge a new path, to consciously and deliberately separate yourself from the vast, drifting sea of humanity, the masses who will inevitably spend the coming year caught in same tired loops, whispering the same well-worn excuses, clinging to the same comfortable routines, and reaping the same harvest of disappointing, soul-crushing results. This is your moment. This is your invitation to step across a threshold and join the ranks of the exceptional, the small and dedicated percentage of individuals who do more than just dream. They don't just talk about their aspirations over coffee or write them down in a journal that gathers dust. They are the architects of their own reality. They take messy, courageous, consistent action. They build their dreams brick by painful, glorious brick, while others are merely sleeping. In the moments we have together now, I am going to share with you 5 specific, non-negotiable actions you must take before the first sunrise of 2026. Let me be absolutely clear, these are not gentle suggestions. These are not quaint ideas that might help you feel a little better about yourself for a fleeting afternoon. These are imperatives. These are the fundamental, unyielding principles that carve the great divide between the life you have and the life you were born to live. They are the actions that distinguish the truly successful from the perpetually unsuccessful, the genuinely wealthy from the eternally poor, the deeply fulfilled from the quietly frustrated. If you commit to these 5 imperatives, if you integrate them into the very fiber of your being, your life will transform in ways you can currently only imagine. The person you are today will become a distant echo of the powerful, actualized person you will become. However, if you choose to ignore this call, to click away, to dismiss this as mere motivational fluff, then I can promise you with equal certainty what your future holds. You will continue to get the exact same results you've always gotten. You will remain trapped in a cycle of if only, and someday. And you will look out at the world with an gnawing sense of confusion, wondering why others seem to be blessed with all the luck, while you seem to be cursed with all the problems. The choice, as always, is yours. Let us begin. The first imperative: forge a personal philosophy that serves you. The first and most foundational thing you must do before 2026 begins is to consciously architect and develop a personal philosophy that actively serves your highest good. Most people navigate their entire existence without one. What they have instead is a chaotic, jumbled collection of borrowed opinions, inherited beliefs, unexamined traditions, and popular prejudices. They are patchworks of other people's ideas. They have never taken the time to sit down in the quiet solitude of their own mind and truly think, to deeply question and decide what they genuinely believe about the great subjects of life. About success, about money, about love and relationships, about health, about personal growth, about the very nature of reality itself. They simply drift along, passively accepting whatever dogma or philosophy happens to be trending at the moment, swayed by the loudest voices and the most compelling headlines. And then, with a sense of genuine bewilderment, they wonder why their lives feel so average, so directionless, so utterly mediocre. They wonder why they feel like a ship without a rudder, tossed about by the whims of external circumstances. You must understand this. Your personal philosophy is the operating system of your life. It is the invisible software that runs every single program, every thought, every decision, every action. If you are running on faulty, outdated, or corrupted software, you will get faulty, outdated, and corrupted results, no matter how much effort you exert. You can have the most powerful hardware imaginable: talent, intelligence, a strong work ethic. But if the underlying code is flawed, you will perpetually crash. Conversely, if you install a powerful, empowering, and coherent operating system, you will generate powerful and extraordinary results, often with a fraction of the effort. Most people are running on software that was installed in their childhood by well-meaning but often unsuccessful people, parents, teachers, and society at large. It's time for a system-wide upgrade. It's time to become the master programmer of your own mind. Here is the most liberating truth about developing your personal philosophy. This is not an academic quest to find the truth, with a capital T. It is not about discovering some singular, objective reality that governs the universe. It is a deeply personal, practical, and pragmatic endeavor. It's about finding, crafting, and adopting beliefs that serve you. It's about choosing beliefs that propel you toward your goals, not chains that anchor you to your past. It's about installing beliefs that empower you, that expand your sense of possibility, instead of beliefs that limit you and shrink your world. The ultimate test of any belief within your philosophy is not, is this objectively true? The ultimate test is, does this work? Does this belief make you more effective, more resilient, more compassionate, more successful? Does it make you happier or more miserable? Does it move you forward with courage, or does it hold you back in fear? Let's make this tangible. Consider the philosophy surrounding money. Some people, often subconsciously, have been programmed with the belief that money is the root of all evil, or that pursuing wealth is inherently greedy and corrupt. This belief, running in the background of their mind, will cause them to sabotage every financial opportunity. They will feel guilty for charging what they're worth. They will spend impulsively to get rid of the evil money, and they will never achieve financial freedom. Now, consider an alternative philosophy. Money is a neutral tool that amplifies the character of its owner. With this belief, money becomes a resource for good, a tool to create beautiful experiences, to help loved ones, to solve problems, and to make a positive impact on the world. Which of these two philosophies do you think leads to better, healthier financial results? Think about your philosophy of failure, which is perhaps the most critical of all. The majority of people have been taught that failure is a final verdict. It's an indictment of their character, a source of deep shame and embarrassment. They believe it's proof that they aren't smart enough, talented enough, or worthy enough, and that it's a clear signal they should give up and retreat to safety. This philosophy is a guaranteed prescription for a life of quiet desperation and mediocrity, because anyone who dares to achieve anything of significance will inevitably stumble, fall, and fail along the way. The successful, the fulfilled, the resilient, they operate from a completely different philosophical framework. They see failure not as a judgment, but as invaluable data. They see it as a tuition payment for their education in the real world. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a vital, non-negotiable part of the journey to success. It is a stepping stone, a course correction, a lesson learned. You cannot learn to walk without falling down. You cannot learn to ride a bike without scraping your knee. And you absolutely cannot build a life of purpose and achievement without experiencing failure. Failure is simply feedback. That's it. It's the world telling you, not that way, try another. Before 2026 begins, your task is to become a philosopher. Take out a pen and a journal. I want you to write, with as much detail and honesty as you can muster, your current and your desired philosophy for every key area of your life. Success, money, relationships, health, personal growth, work, failure, and opportunity. Don't just ponder this in the shower. The physical act of writing forces clarity from the fog of your mind. As you write, you will uncover hidden beliefs you didn't even know you were carrying. You will expose glaring contradictions in your thinking. You will pinpoint the exact areas where your mental software needs a critical upgrade. This single act of clarification is the bedrock upon which all other success is built. The second imperative: set goals that terrify and inspire you once you have the foundation of your philosophy. The second imperative is to set goals that genuinely inspire you, rather than goals that merely satisfy a sense of obligation. This distinction is everything. Most people fall into one of two camps. They either set no goals at all, which is a surefire way to end up anywhere and therefore nowhere, or they set goals that are pathetically small, insultingly safe, and suffocatingly comfortable. They set goals based on a timid assessment of what they think is realistic or possible, which is really just a projection of their current limitations and fears. Here is the profound secret of goal setting that is almost always missed. Your goals are not just about what you will get. Their true, deeper purpose is about who you will become in the pursuit of them. The size of your goals directly determines the size of your character. If you set small, easy, comfortable goals, you will be required to grow very little to achieve them. You will remain a small person. But if you set vast, audacious, magnificent goals that thrill you and terrify you in equal measure, you will be forced to become a large and magnificent person to match them. The size of your goals determines the size of your life. I'm not advocating for setting delusional goals with no connection to reality, like deciding you want to be an astronaut by next Tuesday. I'm talking about setting goals that are on the far edge of your current capabilities, goals that stretch you, goals that demand you to acquire new skills, to develop new habits, to cultivate a new level of courage, to think in ways you've never thought before, goals that force you to become more than you are today. You see, the ultimate prize of a worthy goal is not the thing itself, the $1 million, the successful business, the transformed body. The ultimate prize is the person you had to forge yourself into along the way. The person who achieves a massive, audacious goal is never the same person who first set it. They have been tested by fire. They have had to develop unshakable discipline, profound resilience, and creative resourcefulness. They've had to overcome obstacles that seemed insurmountable at the beginning. They've had to find the strength to persist through moments of crushing doubt when everyone else would have quit. The getting of the goal is almost secondary to the becoming that it catalyzes. So, when you sit down to set your goals for the coming year and beyond, I forbid you to ask, what is realistic? That is the killer of all greatness. Instead, I want you to ask yourself a series of more powerful questions. Sit quietly and ask, what do I truly want? If there were no limits, what would I want my life to look like? What goal, if I were to pursue it, would make me come alive? What would I dare to do if I knew I could not fail? Let your imagination run wild. Do you want to build a business that changes an industry? Write a book that inspires millions? Master a musical instrument? Run a marathon? Heal a broken relationship? Generate a level of wealth that gives your family complete freedom? Do not filter your desires through the dirty lens of self-doubt. The goal is to find a vision that pulls you forward, that makes your heart beat faster, that fills you with a sense of electric purpose. You're not looking for a should. You're looking for a must. Your goals must be inspiring enough to get you out of bed in the morning with passion. And they must be powerful enough to sustain you through the inevitable darkness of the journey. A small, boring goal has no power. It won't fuel you when you're tired, frustrated, and feel like giving up. A grand, inspiring vision, however, becomes your North Star. It will guide you through the storm. So, before 2026 arrives, dare to write down goals that scare you, goals that make you feel a flutter of nervous excitement. For in that feeling of being stretched lies the seed of your future self. The third imperative: design an unbreakable system for your days, A powerful philosophy gives you direction. An inspiring goal gives you a destination. But the third imperative, the one that translates vision into reality, is to design and implement an unbreakable system for your daily life. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. And it is the system that truly matters. This is a critical distinction. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Anyone can have a goal to get in shape, but it is the person with the system, the non-negotiable schedule of going to the gym 4 times a week, the pre-planned healthy meals, the consistent sleep schedule, who actually transforms their body. Anyone can have the goal of writing a novel, but it is the person with the system of writing 500 words every single morning, no matter what, who becomes an author. Goals can be temporary and fleeting, but your system is what you do every day. It's your collection of habits, routines, and rituals that automates your progress. Relying on motivation and willpower alone is a losing strategy. Motivation is fickle. It comes and goes like the weather. Willpower is a finite resource that gets depleted throughout the day. A robust system, however, doesn't require constant motivation or heroic willpower. It runs on the power of habit and consistency. It makes showing up and doing the work the path of least resistance. Your primary task before the new year is to become the architect of your days. You need to stop living in a state of reaction, letting your time and energy be dictated by the whims of email notifications, social media feeds, and other people's agendas. You must proactively design a structure that makes success the inevitable outcome. Start with your morning. The first 60 to 90 minutes of your day are the most critical. How you spend them sets the tone and trajectory for everything that follows. A winning morning routine is not about checking your phone from bed. It's about cultivating a state of peak performance before the world has a chance to distract you. This might include a few minutes of meditation or mindfulness to calm your mind, journaling to clarify your thoughts and priorities, some form of physical movement to energize your body, and reviewing your grand, inspiring goals to connect with your why. Then, design your workday around focused, uninterrupted blocks of deep work. This is where you work on the tasks that are truly important, the ones that move the needle on your most significant goals. For 90-minute to 2-hour stretches, you must create a fortress of solitude. Turn off your phone, close all irrelevant tabs, and give your full, undivided attention to the task at hand. The majority of people spend their days in a state of shallow, fragmented distraction, flitting from one low-value task to another. The ability to focus deeply and produce high-quality work is becoming increasingly rare, and therefore increasingly valuable. Your system must also include protocols for renewal and recovery. High performance is not about endless, grinding hustle. It's a rhythmic pulse between intense effort and intelligent rest. Schedule your breaks. Plan your evenings to be a time for disconnection and recharging, not for more low-quality work. Prioritize sleep as if it were a critical performance-enhancing drug, because that's exactly what it is. A well-designed system honors the fact that you are a biological creature, not a machine. Before 2026, map out your ideal day. What time will you wake up? What will your morning ritual consist of? When will your deep work blocks be? When will you exercise? When will you disengage and recharge? Write it down. Put it in your calendar. And then, for the first few weeks, your only goal is to follow the system. Don't even worry about the outcome. Just honor the process. The system is your boat, and your daily actions are the oars. A great goal without a system is just a dream. A great goal with a system becomes your destiny. The fourth imperative, master a high-value You skill through deliberate practice. Your philosophy sets your world. Your goals set your destination, and your system gets you into motion. The fourth imperative is to acquire the fuel for this journey. You must commit to mastering a high. And you skill through relentless, deliberate practice. In our rapidly changing world, your ability to learn complex things quickly and apply them effectively is the closest thing you can have to a superpower. To achieve the audacious goals you've set, you cannot remain the person you are today with the skills you have today. You must evolve. A high value skill is one that is rare, in demand, and difficult to replicate. It could be anything from coding, persuasive writing, copywriting, public speaking, data analysis, sales and negotiation, to digital marketing or leadership. The key is that it provides you with leverage, the ability to create a disproportionate amount of impact and value from your time and effort. Most people dabble. They spend a few hours on a YouTube tutorial, read a blog post, or buy an online course they never finish. This is not mastery. This is intellectual entertainment. Mastery is forged in the crucible of deliberate practice. This concept, researched by Anders Ericsson, is what separates the amateurs from the true professionals. It's not about mindlessly putting in the hours. It's about practicing with intense focus, with the specific goal of pushing just beyond your current level of competence. Deliberate practice has four key components. First, you need a specific, well-defined goal for each practice session. Not just practice guitar, but master the C major scale at 120 beats per minute without a single mistake. Second, it requires intense, unwavering focus. This connects back to your system of deep work. You must be completely present and engaged in the task. Third, you need immediate, high-quality feedback. You have to know precisely where you are making mistakes so you can correct them. This might come from a coach, a mentor, video, recording yourself, or using software that tracks your performance. Fourth, it involves frequent repetition and refinement, constantly making small adjustments and pushing the boundary of your comfort zone. This process is not always fun. It's mentally and sometimes physically demanding. It's about confronting your weaknesses head-on, day after day. But this is where real growth, real skill, and real confidence are born. Confidence is not something you can affirm your way to. It is a byproduct of proven competence. When you know you have put in the work, when you know you can perform under pressure because you have simulated it 1,000 times in practice, you develop a deep, unshakable self-belief that no one can take away from you. Before the new year begins, identify the single most important skill that, if you were to master it, would have the greatest positive impact on your ability to achieve your number one goal. Don't try to learn 10 things at once. Pick one, the one that will act as a force multiplier for all your other efforts. Once you've identified it, create a learning plan based on the principles of deliberate practice. What books will you read? What experts will you study? Who can you find to mentor or coach you? How will you structure your practice sessions? How will you get feedback? Dedicate a non-negotiable block of time in your daily system, your deep work block, to the practice of this one skill. Your goal is not to be a dabbler. Your goal is to become so good they can't ignore you. In the economy of the future, it is not your time that will be your most valuable asset, but the high-value skills you have mastered. The fifth imperative, cultivate your circle of influence. The final imperative, the one that ties everything together and accelerates your progress exponentially, is to consciously and ruthlessly cultivate your circle of influence. The old adage that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with is one of the most profound and actionable truths of human development. The people in your life are not neutral. They are either pushing you forward or holding you back. They are either an engine or an anchor. Your relationships, conversations, and social environment are constantly shaping your philosophy, influencing your goals, and either supporting or sabotaging your systems. If you are surrounded by cynical, uninspired people who complain constantly, who mock ambition, and who are content with mediocrity, their mindset will seep into you like a poison. Their low expectations will become your own. Their limiting beliefs will infect your thinking. You simply cannot build an extraordinary life if you are immersed in an ordinary environment. Therefore, one of your most critical tasks is to become a vigilant gatekeeper of your own mind and energy. This requires a two-pronged approach, pruning and planting. First, you must prune. You need to make some difficult decisions about the relationships in your life. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting people off completely, but it does mean limiting your exposure to what can be called energy vampires of people who consistently drain your enthusiasm, question your dreams, and leave you feeling depleted and discouraged after every interaction. You must lovingly, but firmly, reduce the time and emotional energy you invest in relationships that do not align with the person you are striving to become. Your time and energy are your most precious resources. Do not squander them on those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Second, you must proactively plant and nurture relationships with people who inspire, challenge, and uplift you. You must actively seek out your tribe. Find people who are playing the game at a higher level than you are. Find mentors who have already achieved what you want to achieve and learn everything you can from them. Form or join a mastermind group, a small circle of motivated peers who hold each other accountable, brainstorm solutions, and celebrate wins together. The collective intelligence and energy of a focused group is staggering. Where do you find these people? You go where they are. Attend industry conferences, join high-level workshops and seminars, participate in online communities centered around your chosen skill or goal. Offer to work for or with people you admire. Be willing to add value first. Don't approach it with a "what can I get" mindset, but with a "how can I contribute" attitude. Your humility, your hunger to learn, and your willingness to help will be a magnet for the right kind of people. Before 2026, conduct a relationship audit. Make a list of the people you spend the most time with and ask yourself honestly for each one. Does this person inspire me to be better? Do our conversations energize me and expand my thinking? They hold me to a higher standard. Based on your answers, create a plan. Who do you need to spend less time with? And more importantly, who do you need to find and connect with? Make a list of 5 people you admire and devise a strategy to get on their radar. Cultivating your circle is not about social climbing. It's about creating an ecosystem for your own growth. Your network is your net worth, not just financially, but intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. Your moment of decision, and so, here we are. The 5 imperatives are laid out before you. Forge a personal philosophy that serves you. Set goals that terrify and inspire you. Design an unbreakable system for your days. Master a high and you skill through deliberate practice. And cultivate your circle of influence. These 5 pillars, working in concert, create an unstoppable momentum for success and fulfillment. They are the keys to unlocking a life of your own design. But knowing them is not enough. Reading this is not enough. Feeling a temporary jolt of motivation is not enough. The chasm between knowing and doing is where the vast majority of dreams go to die. The window of opportunity before 2026 is closing with each passing day. You have a choice to make, and it is the most important choice of your life. You can continue as you are, a passive passenger in your own existence, hoping that things will somehow get better on their own. Or you can decide, right now in this very moment, to become the active, conscious creator of your future. You can decide to do the hard, uncomfortable, but deeply rewarding work of transformation. The path is clear. The choice is yours. Will you let this be another year of the same, or will you make it the year that everything changes? Step forward, take action, begin. Your future self is waiting. We've talked about the foundational power of forging a personal philosophy and the electrifying energy that comes from setting goals that truly inspire you. But right here is where the path forks, where so many noble journeys come to a premature end. It's the point where persistence often seems pointless, where the initial fire of enthusiasm dwindles into cold ash. The reason is simple yet profound. Most people, even with the best of intentions, set their goals in entirely the wrong categories. They build their life's architecture on a faulty foundation. They set goals centered on the things they want to have, instead of focusing on the person they want to become. Their vision boards are plastered with images of a bigger house, a more luxurious car, a fatter bank account. Now, let me be clear, there is absolutely nothing inherently wrong with desiring these things. They can bring comfort, security, and pleasure. But they are a byproduct of success, not the source of it. They are not the kind of goals that can ever deliver deep, lasting, soul-level fulfillment. The goals that nourish the human spirit, the ones that create a legacy of meaning, are the goals that focus on growth, on contribution, and, most importantly, on becoming. So I ask you, before the calendar flips to 2026, to engage with a far more powerful question. What kind of person do you truly want to become? What magnificent skills do you want to master and weave into the fabric of your being? What empowering, life-affirming habits do you want to install so deeply that they become as natural as breathing? What weaknesses, what limiting patterns that have held you captive for years, do you want to finally and decisively eliminate? What innate strengths do you possess that you wish to sharpen, to enhance, to polish until they shine with brilliance? These are the goals that truly matter. Why? Because they are the only goals that are permanent. They are the only achievements that can never be taken from you. In the unpredictable currents of life, you can lose your money in a market crash. You can lose your possessions in a fire or a flood. But you can never, ever lose the person you have forged yourself into. The courage you developed, the resilience you built, the wisdom you earned, that is your true and eternal wealth. Furthermore, your goals must be brought out of the ethereal realm of thought and into the concrete world of reality. A goal that isn't written down is nothing more than a wish, a fleeting daydream that dissolves like mist in the morning sun. A goal that isn't specific is just a vague fantasy. You cannot move toward an ambiguous target. You need to know with absolute crystal clarity what you want. You need a deadline for when you want it. And you must have a tangible plan for what you are going to do to achieve it. Vague goals produce vague, unsatisfying results. Specific, detailed, written goals produce specific, measurable, triumphant results. But here we arrive at the critical linchpin that holds this entire structure together. Your goals must be in perfect, harmonious alignment with your personal philosophy. If your core philosophy, perhaps installed in you since childhood, whispers that money is the root of all evil, but your conscious goal is to become fabulously wealthy, you have just declared a civil war within your own mind. This internal conflict will ensure you sabotage every opportunity, creating a constant push-and-pull that exhausts your will and guarantees failure. If your deeply held philosophy insists that you're not smart enough or worthy enough to succeed, but your stated goal is to build a thriving business, you are fighting a battle against yourself before you even step onto the field. This is precisely why developing your empowering philosophy must come first. It is the constitution upon which all the laws of your life are built. Your goals must be a natural, consistent extension of your most fundamental beliefs about what is possible for you, what is right for you, and what is truly desirable for your one precious life. The third imperative: master the art of personal discipline. Once your philosophy is clear and your aligned goals are set, you arrive at the bridge that connects the world of dreams to the world of reality. That bridge has a name: discipline. Discipline is the steel cable that connects inspiration to tangible achievement. It is the powerful engine that transforms the abstract necessity of your goals into concrete, daily productivity. Without the sturdy bridge of discipline, all the goal setting in the world is a futile exercise. You can have the most beautiful, detailed architectural blueprint, but without discipline, you will never lay a single brick. Discipline is the divine alchemy that turns your intentions into deliberate actions, and your actions into remarkable results. Yet, most people carry a fundamental and painful misunderstanding of what discipline truly is. They see it as a form of punishment, a grim and joyless duty. They believe discipline is about forcing yourself, through sheer white-knuckled willpower, to do things you despise. They equate it with grinding through unpleasant, boring, or difficult activities. To them, discipline is a synonym for sacrifice, for deprivation, for a life stripped of all pleasure. This tragic misconception is the very reason why most people perpetually struggle with discipline, and consequently, why they never come close to achieving their most cherished goals. Let me offer you a new, more powerful definition. True discipline is not about forcing yourself to do anything. True discipline is about training yourself to want the right things. It is the art of consciously developing preferences that serve your highest self, instead of unconsciously clinging to preferences that sabotage you. It is the genius of creating intelligent systems, habits, and rituals that make success the most natural and automatic outcome, rather than a constant uphill battle. Let me explain what I mean with a simple example. Imagine you're trying to lose weight, but your palate, your very identity, is intertwined with a love for junk food. The common approach, rooted in the flawed understanding of discipline, is to try and force yourself to avoid that food through willpower alone. You might succeed for a day, a week, maybe even a month. But willpower is a finite resource, like a battery that drains with every decision. Eventually, you'll be tired, stressed, or emotionally vulnerable. Your willpower will be depleted, and you will inevitably capitulate and go back to your old ways with a vengeance. That isn't discipline, that is self-inflicted torture, and it is a strategy designed for failure. Real discipline, the elegant and sustainable kind, would be to train your taste buds and your mind to genuinely prefer healthy, nourishing food. It's about learning to associate junk food not with the fleeting, 5-minute pleasure of its taste, but with the grogginess, the inflammation, and the terrible feeling you have an hour after eating it. Conversely, it's about associating clean, healthy food with vibrant energy, mental clarity, and the pride of self-care. Real discipline is designing an environment where healthy choices are easy, visible, and accessible, and unhealthy choices are difficult and out of sight. This same principle applies with universal precision to every single area of your life. If you want to read more books, but you find yourself habitually drawn to the passive, numbing glow of television, you can try to force yourself to read through sheer will, but it will always feel like a chore. A far more effective and intelligent approach would be to train yourself to prefer reading. You do this by choosing books that utterly fascinate and excite you, by creating a cozy, irresistible reading sanctuary in your home, and perhaps by taking the radical step of removing television from your bedroom altogether. Discipline, at its core, is intelligent life design. It's about becoming the architect of your world, so that the right choices become the easy choices, and the wrong choices become the difficult ones. It's about consciously building a scaffold of habits that supports your goals, instead of being trapped in a prison of habits that undermine them. The most successful, fulfilled, and effective people on this planet do not possess a superhuman reserve of willpower that the rest of us lack. What they have are superior systems. They have meticulously designed their lives, their mornings, their work periods, their evenings, their environments, so that success is the logical, natural result of their daily routines. They don't have to constantly fight and negotiate with themselves because they have already aligned their environment, their habits, and their trained preferences with their ultimate goals. This is why you must begin to cultivate this power before 2026. The longer you wait, the more deeply entrenched your current, unhelpful patterns become. The longer you postpone, the more difficult it becomes to chart a new course. Discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger and more responsive it gets. But if you neglect it, it atrophies, leaving you weak and at the mercy of your impulses. Start small, but start today. Pick one single area of your life where you know you need more discipline and begin working on it immediately. Do not make the classic mistake of trying to overhaul your entire life overnight. That is a surefire recipe for burnout and failure. Focus on one habit, one system, one area of improvement. Master that. Feel the pride and the momentum that comes from that small victory. Then, and only then, move on to the next. The fourth imperative. Curate your circle of influence. The fourth imperative you must embrace is to become a conscious, deliberate, and sometimes ruthless curator of your social environment. You must surround yourself with people who inspire you to become better, rather than people who, however well-intentioned, enable you to stay the same. There is a profound truth that has echoed through the ages. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. This isn't just a catchy, motivational saying. It is a fundamental and inescapable law of human nature. Your income and your financial habits will inexorably drift toward the average of your 5 closest friends. Your attitudes, your beliefs, your fears, and your aspirations will begin to reflect the attitudes of the people you associate with most. Your daily habits, what you eat, how you speak, whether you exercise, what you read, will gradually mirror the habits of your peer group. Most people tragically underestimate the silent, pervasive power of this law of association. They believe they are an island, that they are strong enough to resist the pull of a negative or mediocre environment. They think they can maintain high standards for themselves while being constantly surrounded by people with low standards. They imagine they can tenaciously pursue a path of excellence while spending the majority of their time with people who are perfectly satisfied with mediocrity. This is a dangerous delusion. It is like trying to stay perfectly dry while swimming in the ocean. It is like trying to stay warm in a blizzard without a coat. The environment is always stronger than the individual will. The ambient culture you immerse yourself in will always win in the end. Therefore, if you are serious about becoming successful, you must make it your business to associate with successful people. If you wish to become wealthy, you must find ways to spend time with and learn from wealthy people. If you want to become truly healthy and vibrant, you must surround yourself with people who value and prioritize their health. If you aspire to become a person of deep integrity and character, you must associate with people who embody those very qualities. This does not mean you must cruelly abandon your lifelong friends or disown your family. It simply means you must become far more selective and intentional about who receives the precious, non-renewable currency of your time and attention. It means you must strategically limit your exposure to negative people while simultaneously and proactively increasing your exposure to positive, uplifting people. Think of it this way: there are energy vampires and energy multipliers. Energy vampires are the people who drain your enthusiasm, your optimism, and your motivation. They are the chronic complainers who see only problems and never solutions. They are the excuse makers who refuse to take responsibility for their own lives. They focus on obstacles, gossip, and grievances. Spending time with a negative person is like trying to fill a bucket that has a giant hole in the bottom. No matter how much positive energy, ideas, or ambition you pour in, it all just leaks out, leaving you feeling exhausted and diminished. Positive people, the energy multipliers, are the complete opposite. They are like plugging into a power source. They increase your enthusiasm,